Hey there, friends. It's Katie Snyder from Museum of the Grand Prairie. And that little guy over there is my trusty coworker. I don't know if you can see him. That bunch of black fur is Frankie. You may have met him the other day. Frankie and I are coming to you today because we wanted to do a little read aloud for you from our house. We're sheltering in place, as we know you all are. This is the book I chose, and I chose this book called If You're Not From the Prairie by David Bouchard and pictures by Henry Ripplinger, because a couple of reasons. And one is this book is actually a poem. And I know a lot of people are thinking about poems this month because April is Poetry Month. In fact, Museum of the Grand Prairie is collaborating with some of our friends from the community to bring you haikus from home. So Shambana Moms, Urbana Arts and Culture Program, Coop Adventure Play, and Urbana poet Will Rieger are all coming together to bring you haikus from home this month. And what we hope you'll do is you'll write some haikus and you will put them in the event page so we can all see them. I already wrote one, kind of about Frankie and me and what we've been doing. And that we would love to see them. Also, Museum of the Grand Prairie is part of the Champaign County Forest Preserve District, and our trails are still open, our preserves are still open, so we hope that you'll get out there and take a look at nature, because often haikus throughout history have been inspired by nature. Haikus throughout history have also been inspired by life itself. And we are going through some interesting times now in our lives, aren't we? And these times later on are going to be historical times. So it's kind of nice to write those things down in a poetry form, and you can look back on it later when all this is over. Now, this particular book is about the prairie. That's another reason I chose it. So I would like to just read it to you, and it's called If You're Not From the Prairie. If you're not from the prairie. If you're not from the prairie, you don't know the sun. You can't know the sun. Diamonds that bounce off crisp winter snow, warm waters in dugouts and lakes that we know. The sun is our friend from when we are young. A child of the prairie is part of the sun. If you're not from the prairie, you don't know the sun. If you're not from the prairie, you don't know the wind. You can't know the wind. Our cold winds of winter cut right to the core. Hot summer wind devils can blow down the door. As children, we know when we play any game, the wind will be there, yet we play just the same. If you're not from the prairie, you don't know the wind. If you're not from the prairie, you don't know the sky. You can't know the sky. The bold prairie sky is clear, bright, and blue, though sometimes cloud messages give us a clue. Monstrous gray mushrooms can hint of a storm, or painted pink feathers say goodbye to the warm. If you're not from the prairie, you don't know the sky. If you're not from the prairie, you don't know what's flat. You've never even seen flat. When travelers pass through across our Great Plain, they all view our home and they all say the same. It's simple and flat. They've not learned to see the particular beauty that's now part of me. If you're not from the prairie, you don't know what's flat. There you go. And I'm sure you're familiar with that whole flat landscape. If you're not from the prairie, you've not heard of the grass. You've never heard grass. In strong summer winds, the grass and grains bend and sway to a dance that seems never to end. It whispers its secrets. They tell of this land and the rhythm of life played by nature's own hand. If you're not from the prairie, you've never heard grass. Frank's perking up. Maybe he's hearing grass, huh? So, you're not from the prairie, and yet you know snow. You think you know snow. Blizzards bring danger, as legends have told. In deep drifts, we roughhouse, ignoring the cold. At times we look out at the great seas of white. So bright is the sun that we squeeze our eyes tight. If you're not from the prairie, you don't know snow. If you're not from the prairie, you don't know our trees. You don't know. You can't know our trees. The trees that we know have taken so long to live through our seasons, to grow tall and strong. They're loved and they're treasured as we watch them grow. We knew they're special because the prairie has few. If you're not from the prairie, you don't know our trees. Still, you're not from the prairie, and yet you know cold. You say you've been cold? Do you know what to do to relieve so much pain of burning from deep down that drives you insane? Your ears and your hands right into your toes. A child who's been cold on the prairie will know. Of all these memories we share when we're old, none of them are more clear than the hard, bitter cold. You'll not find among us a soul who can say, I've conquered the wind on a cold winter's day. If you're not from the prairie, you don't know the cold. You've never been cold. Pretty glad we're not stuck inside when it's cold. Glad it's spring. If you're not from the prairie, you don't know me. You just can't know me. I'm not sure about that. What do you think? You see, my hair's mostly wind. My eyes filled with grit. My skin's red or brown, and my lips are chapped and split. Not too far from the truth. I've lain on the prairie and I've heard the grasses sigh. I've stared at the vast open bowl of the sky. I've seen all those castles and faces and clouds. My home is the prairie and I cry out loud. You like to look for things in the clouds? It's a fun activity for sure. Maybe one we'll have a little more time for now. If you're not from the prairie, you can't know my soul. You don't know our blizzards. You've not fought our cold. Unless deep within you there's somehow a part of these things that I've said that I know. The wind, sky and earth, the storms, and the snow. Just say you have, and then we'll be one. For we will have shared that same blazing sun. This is the end picture. And I like how they're walking out there by themselves. Just with the people they know, just with the people they live with. They're practicing social distancing, aren't they? Well, friends, tomorrow I plan to post a little game to go with this on Kahoots, which I'll be putting on our Facebook page. It'll just be a little quiz that's associated with this. But we hope that you've enjoyed it. Oh, one more thing. I've got my chalk. Do you have your chalk? Tomorrow's Chalk Your Walk on Friday. Once again, we're going to keep doing that for a while. I don't know, maybe you have a haiku or a poem you want to put on Chalk Your Walk? That'd be fun. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed. If you're not from the prairie, stay safe, friends. Keep practicing that social distance, and we hope to see you all real soon.